So happy Friday, everyone. Here I am, Greg Dixon here with Betty Withrow and Roy Dickan. We're Total Traffic and Conversion, and our topic today is renovate, integrate, and expand your connections. So I'm just going to do a brief overview of what I mean by these words. What we mean is renovate is many of us have websites and social media platforms, YouTube channels, that either we don't have them or they're out of date. Like most of us are our online presence is usually a step or two, and sometimes a lot of steps behind where we want to go. so that's what we mean about renovate. Integrate is often many of us don't have a simple message. We're just the three of us have a pretty diverse collection of skills and tools and abilities and things we offer. And what it is sometimes we end up with a bit of an online presence that looks like it has a multiple personality disorder, right? If people go and find you about one thing and then they don't know you do something else. And then the expand that's part of our total traffic and conversion way is we expand the number of ways, the number of channels, the number of ways to get your message out and get your messaging. And so the messaging, I'm just going to say this again about integrate. What we really are looking for is a coherent set of messaging for your brand and what you're offering and to put out in the world. And Betty, you're the best person to talk about that. So why don't you give your perspective on this?
Well, yeah.
Hello.
Oh, Dave. Okay, sorry about that. I pressed the wrong button. That was me. I pushed instead of making her full screen, I muted her. There we go.
Maybe
the beauty of live broadcast.
Ask me a question and then don't let me answer it, right?
That's right, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so integrating your messaging and your marketing so that it's coherent is what Greg was just mentioning. And it is very important that you have a concentrated focus within your mindset and within your messaging so that when you talk to people, what you say makes sense to them as well as to you. And so how do you do that? Well, one of the things I like to do is ask people, what do you want this to do? My perennial question. And when they can really identify exactly what they're trying to accomplish in their business and in their messaging, then it's a lot easier to figure out how to make it all make sense and pull together. You know, like the kids like to say, make it make sense. Well, if you don't do that, then everybody kind of goes, oh, well, they seem like a nice person, but I just don't get it. And this is exactly the opposite of what you want. You want people to see you as a wonderful and competent expert who is actually a great person and they want to get to know you and all of those good things. So what are the various skill sets that you have? You have a lot of them probably. So you can, this is from my golden apple system, being transparent. What is the one most prominent skill set that you want to present to your market? The thing that you're best at, the thing that's really lighting you up right now, the thing that speaks to the needs of your market. You want to concentrate on that as the centerpiece of your message and really present that well and understanding who your audience is and what they're looking for. And then when you have that accomplished, you can also surround that with the rest of the skills that you have so that people know that you do have more to offer. And that even if they don't want to take you up on your original process, that they can come back to you and rely on you for something else. Or they may know someone who has something that they need done that you know how to do. And when you present it in a coherent way, they can relate to it and they find you to be a trustworthy resource. You don't want to confuse your market because a confused mind takes no action. And if people are wondering what it is that you offer, the answer is always no. The third point in this is expanding your connections. I don't know about you, but I have a lot of people in my LinkedIn network that I haven't necessarily communicated with lately. And therefore, they don't know what I'm up to lately, and I don't know what they're up to lately. So it's a good practice to make a point of reaching out to people on a regular basis and just kind of freshening up the connection. For example, I got an email a couple of weeks ago from someone that I networked with about a year ago. And at that time, she was planning a big business retreat. Well, guess what? It turned out that she had launched a magazine at the retreat, and she thought it was a one-off. And the next thing she knows, she's a magazine publisher. Who knew, right? So now I'm figuring out, what am I going to submit to her magazine? So you never know where the opportunity lies, and keeping those connections fresh also keeps you top of mind, so that whoever it is that you communicate with can remember you if somebody says something like, for example, oh, I really need an editor for this new book that I'm coming out with. And so those three things together are going to make it so that you're more effective in your marketing and more clear in your own mind about what it is that you're presenting, and therefore you can communicate it more clearly with your market.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you, Betty. And so, Roy, the niche dominator here, is his area is all things Google, how to be connected through Google searches and Google business profiles and things. And so, maybe you want to talk a little bit about your perspective on this, Roy?
Yeah, well, I'd like to expound upon what Betty's been talking about. You need to renovate your message. Now, if you're a business and you've got a product that solves a problem, and hopefully that's true if you are a business, you have to have something that actually solves a problem in order to in order to really be able to do well with your business. Your solution, has to be something that people need. Now, when Betty was talking about basically that your message is all over the place and it's not focused, that particularly is not good when it comes to the internet. With Google, for example, you want to focus your message so that Google understands exactly what your solution is, the market that you're trying to go to, and they go ahead and send you the people that are your ideal prospects. So if you're not really focusing your message on Google, they're going to send you all kinds of people that really are tire kickers, and they're not really going to be interested in what you're talking about or what you have to offer. Now, when it comes to LinkedIn, this is also very true, and this is actually a very timely with respect to LinkedIn, because they've kind of gone off track of what they used to be, which was a business-to-business network for the most part, so that people that either wanted a job or wanted to let other business owners know what solution they had. For the last few years, they've kind of become like a Facebook too, and they have decided to go back to what they used to be. And this is very important that you understand this. It's all business on LinkedIn once again. So this is a really important time to make sure that your profile and your posts are about what your business is focusing on, and particularly what kind of a solution you have for a problem. You can talk about the problem, you can talk about the solution, but both with Google and with LinkedIn, it's very important to really focus in on what you can do as a business. Now, when it comes to Renovate, and you're thinking about LinkedIn, where you've got, as Betty mentioned, she's got a whole lot of connections that she maybe hasn't talked to for a while. I've got some that I can't even remember any time that I've talked to them. I really need to reevaluate these connections now that LinkedIn is going back to being business to business, and make sure that these connections make sense to my focus now. And I've changed my focus a little bit. So what it looks like, what is important is to be connected to the people that are interested in what you have to say and what you have to offer. And if your connections don't do that, it's possible that could actually hurt you. So you need to really evaluate this, and you might even want to consider dropping some connections if you don't know who they are and if they really aren't there for you. This is particularly important right now when LinkedIn is evaluating everybody, and they will send you more traffic when you actually engage with your connections. And so if you're not engaging with them, you need to start again. So this will give you an opportunity to see which ones you really want to engage with, which ones are really important to you. The ones that are really important to you, you want to go on their posts and actually comment to them, see if they comment back and comment back to them again. On your posts, look at who is commenting and be sure and keep that engagement going. So this is the opportunity to really get more traffic coming from LinkedIn. And as I mentioned before with Google, as if you focus on the right people, Google will send you the right leads. So this can actually improve and expand the connections that really matter to you.
That's awesome, awesome, Roy. Anyway, I want to go back to, well, for one, I'm going to explain why we use the word renovate today. Is we've been talking with a number of people in the real estate business, and we figure they understand the term renovating, renovations, all that kind of thing. And the other thing I want to talk about is why integrate. So let's do a little case study discussion here. So we have a person who's primarily a real estate agent, but she also is involved with tax, probate, um, estate planning, and auctions for properties. All of these things are related, but if you go to her LinkedIn profile, you don't really get a sense. For one, you don't get a sense that real estate is the primary thing, and then the other is those other things that she offers that makes her special are not obvious. So we wanted to come up with update her YouTube channel, her LinkedIn profile, her website, social media platform, and then Betty's been working on a series of content to do, and I've offered to do a series of introduction videos related to all those areas to try to get a good sense of everything that her companies and she offers. So that's kind of the integration part of it, and the expansion is we're suggesting that she does things that she hasn't really thought of before. So that's the whole process here. So Roy or Betty, do you want to make a comment about that?
Betty, would you like?
Sure. Yeah, that fits right into having a series of skill sets, like I mentioned earlier. That her primary and best skill set in terms of her marketing and her income, and the thing that she really loves to do is the real estate part, right? And yet there's other skill sets that are deeply related to that can add to that value. So how to position it in such a way that all of those things are present, but leaning into the most powerful one, which is the fact of actually being able to sell someone's property in several different ways, several different types of clients, and along with that, being able to give them advice for certain types of sales and in advance of certain types of sales that will save them time and money and aggravation. So that's one example. Another client we worked with recently is in the healing space, and she has several different modalities that she presents. And we created a website for her and a content stream that highlights those things in such a way that a person can go to her site, and maybe they've been brought there because of a search term that they typed in because of Roy's guidance on keywords. And then they find out that, hey, wow, she does these other things too. Like, well, I was looking for a Reiki person, but it turns out that I can get these other skill sets too, like psychic readings, positive intelligence training, and so on. So that's the type of thing that we talk about, where identifying what's the thing you want to focus on the most, and having your marketing reflect that, while not in any way making the rest of what you do unavailable or invisible. So keep you visible. That's what we're about. And here's my doggy. Visible.
That's a key word, keeping you visible. So basically what we're doing is trying to increase the visibility everywhere, so that, and our strategy is generally to have a presence on YouTube, a presence in the social media platforms, have a website, blog regularly, get things listed in the search engines, do Roy's magic, all that kind of thing, in order to, so when people go search online, you pop up, you become the sometimes the only choice, where you appear like you're the only choice in that market. And that's our general strategy. Roy, any last comments here?
Yeah, Betty brought up some good points about the realtor who can do a lot of other things, and where that can be strong is whatever is her most important service, and especially if it has the most demand. And what she could do is what she wants to focus on. But all these other things that she does, when it's positioned properly, this makes her, like Greg was just saying, the only choice. Because when you have someone that can do all kinds of things that may be of help, in addition to the main service that you can get from a lot of people, it makes you unique. And in many cases, you could be the only choice. So you bring people to your applications, your website, your Google business profile, LinkedIn, Facebook, because of your main service, but then they find out that there isn't anybody quite like you. That helps in so many ways, but it could well be the factor that makes the decision, well, there really is nobody else I would rather deal with. I've got to talk to this person and find out what's going on there. But it looks like she is really the one I should be dealing with. So the uniqueness, after the fact that you focus in on the main focus of the website, the message, everything else, is just unbelievable, the kind of thing that it can do for you.
Yeah, I just going to say one of the reasons why I was interested in this person is because we have a family situation where we have somebody who possibly needs to get out of their home for health reasons, to sell the house, and she had all of the stuff covered. Not only could she help sell the property, but she could help with the probate and all the estate issues too. She had a connection to a service where they can come and remove the stuff from the home and then auction it. And I just never had come across a realtor with that collection of tools, right? And it was just, and I think that she came from it because I think her family situation sort of, she realized they needed that, and so that's how she aligned what she was doing. So that was pretty. So even though there's a zillion realtors, she's really kind of in a special case because you get tax people or tax specialists, you got probate people or probate specialists, but to get somebody with a team and an interest across the board, take everything from selling the property to managing all the other things, it's really a a one-stop shop. And yeah, yeah, it's pretty amazing, and we that's what we tried to do. And Betty, especially in the preliminary discussions, you get what where are you and where do you want to go? What do you want to get out of this? What are the things? And sometimes people don't necessarily see their their wonderfulness, right?
Right. That's absolutely
Yeah,
right.
and so we help them see the whole person and that whole and then try to bring the most out of it and use a bunch of tools. And speaking of talking to people, we have a special offer here today. um, we do an online effectiveness review, so if you're interested in talking with us, we can take a look at everything you've got online, what you look at, and we'll talk with you about what you want to achieve out of this, and we'll look for places where it's not quite working, and we'll come up with a roadmap to help it work for you. And there's also a free review on this page. If you go to this page, there's a place where you can do a self-assessment, because sometimes we need to put on our visitor's hat and go see what we look like online, and it can be quite shocking sometimes. It says, I haven't been a dog walker since 1911, it's, yet it's still there on the website.
Right. Yeah.
Or it's the predominant thing on the website, which would make it even worse.
Yeah. And I've gone on to, I think all three of us, our main practice is if we meet somebody in a networking meeting, the first thing we do is go check out their LinkedIn channel and see what it says, and then we'll, if it looks interesting, maybe we'll book an appointment with them. But sometimes I've made a comment about something, and they said, well, how did you find that? What's on your LinkedIn channel? What do you mean it's on my LinkedIn channel? So, and I just have to say that all three of us probably need to go and take a look at our own online presence and bring it up to date, because I know we're a little behind where we're headed with our total traffic and conversion and my personal LinkedIn profile too. I think we all need a little bit of help, but it's helpful if you book an appointment, come and talk to us. We have, three different perspectives on it, and we can come up with some insights to help you get where you want to do. And between us and our referral partners, we can do a lot of things.
Yeah, Greg, you bring up a good point about looking at at each of your applications, and especially the profiles within each. There is one thing that a lot of us may have done in previous years that was effective for that year, and we mentioned the actual year because then it was a big deal. For 2022, for example, this is what you want to do. Well, it's not 2022 anymore. So you've got to go back and catch these things, and you might want to update that for what is important for 2023. That is such an easy thing to overlook, the year, but it can be so impacting because nobody's looking for what was important last year. They're looking for what's important now.
Right. And, for me, it's always what has enduring value, because I like to say by the time it's being taught, it's already out of date in terms of marketing tactics, because everything's moving really fast. And as Roy pointed out, the last thing you want to do is be last year's next best thing.
Yeah.
That's not it.
So I don't know if you noticed, Alan made a comment here. So Alan Holmes.
Great. Welcome,
Yeah.
Alan.
Yeah. So we were just chatting with Alan this morning in that networking group. It's great. And he's been a guest on our show before.
Right.
Yes, he has. And we'd like to have him on here again.
Yeah. So I guess we should put a shout out is we often have people come in, specialists in certain areas, people we want to work with come on and share their special insights and their approach to what we do. Because we really, total traffic and conversion is a collaboration with a capital C.
That's right. If we think you're going to help bring our clients results, we're going to rope you in and bring you into the process. That's how we roll. And like I just want to go back to that example of the realtor, because the ultimate thing that she's delivering is not a bundle of services. I mean, it is a bundle of services, but what is she really doing for people? She's cutting the stress. Okay, a person is in this massive amount of stress because their family situation blew up. They have all these things to handle. They don't know what they're going to do. Somebody comes in and says, here, I will take care of this. That's what she's really delivering. All the different pieces of it are the components that make that possible. But the ultimate result for the customer or the client is, what are you bringing to them in their life? How are you making their life better?
And that is so much more than being a realtor.
Yeah, so much more. So, yeah, if you are interested in talking to us about taking a look at your online presence, learning more about how we help you increase your Renovate and integrate and all of that kind of thing. And if you have a special area of expertise and want to come share it on a Friday on the show, let us know. And I guess is it 5 o'clock there for you, Roy, in North Carolina yet?
Not yet, but that's okay. It's 5 o'clock somewhere, I think.
It's 5 o'clock somewhere. So, any last comments? Any last questions? I don't see any in the chat. And I guess we can.
Be sure and let people know
we
how
can
to
play.
get in touch with us.
Yeah. And I'll turn off this. I'll turn off our little banner here because it continues even when the video is running. So, oh yeah, just in case if anybody's wondering why it's a little bit noisy when my mic is on, is I'm in a Denny's in a town called Kamloops in British Columbia. So you got to do what you got to. You haven't noticed what?
We have a comment.
Yeah.
Scott says, "Oh, behave."
Oh, go behave. What? Okay.
Oh, behave. Yeah. Thanks, Scott.
Oh, okay. There we go.
Good.
Yeah.
Scott's here too. That's wonderful.
Yeah.
Good to see you, Scott.
Does anybody with this? Is our rule that anybody has a snarky comment needs to be the guest the next week?
Yeah, that's how we do it.
I think we should make it that way if it isn't already.
You're it, Scott.
Yeah, there we go.
People need to hear what you can do, Scott. It's very important.
Right.
Yeah, so that's perfect. Anyway, so okay, we'll play our outro video, and happy Friday, everyone. They wanted $15,000 for it, and I ended up getting